Yo, what's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you from the Costco in Covington. And I was walking around the TV section because I always like to see like what's the latest in technology because TVs aren't cheaper all the time. And then I hear this voice say, "Hey, are you Norm?" And I run into James over here. Yeah. James, so you tell the 12s, how did you recognize me? And
just walking by, I recognized the face and thought, where do I know that face from? And then I made the connection that, oh, I like a Seahawks take, so I thought I'd stop and say I enjoy your takes on our team.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And I don't know about what it is, but I seem to run into people in Costco more often than any place else. And look, I'm not even wearing any obvious Seahawks stuff. I got Seahawks underneath, Clark Kent style, but I was like pretty much incognito, yet he still spotted me. But we started talking about the state of the Seahawks right now, and of course we got this big Thursday night primetime matchup against the Cowboys in Jerry World, and you started going on. I thought, I got to get you on the record for this. So I want to get your take on how you feel about the Seahawks right now and our chances going in tomorrow.
Okay, so as far as my ideas of how I think the team is, I'm not super thrilled with what we're doing draft-wise. I love Smith and Jigma. I think he's a great player, a great wide receiver. I just don't think it's what we needed in the draft to build the team that we want to for the future.
What did we need?
I think we needed defensive line and we need offensive line. I don't think that we built.
So in other words, you were all ready to get Jalen Carter.
I was ready for Jalen Carter. I was, absolutely.
So at this point, do you feel like the Eagles did better by getting Jalen Carter than we have with Witherspoon?
I think the record speaks for how the Eagles did as compared to. Well, I don't know about.
But here's okay. All right, I hate to shoot you down already, but here's the thing though. What has been the problem with the Seahawks? Has it been a defensive issue, or has it been an offensive issue?
I think right now it's an offensive issue. I think there's a lot of injury problems that are leading to that with offensive line and Smith not having enough time in the backfield to get the ball out. But he's not getting the ball out quickly enough.
Yeah.
I think that Peters is a great offensive lineman.
41-year-old Jason Peters.
But he's 41 years old.
Yeah,
That's
he
the
got
problem.
hurt, but he was doing all right. He was kind of holding his own.
He
but
is. He's a
but
piece.
I think we might be getting Abe Lucas back in time for the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of version of Abe Lucas who hasn't played since game one? Hopefully, he's good enough to withstand that Cowboys pass rush.
Yeah.
But back to Njigba though. So, how do you feel has how he's performed as a Seahawk?
He's performed well. I don't think that he's a bad player by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
I just think we have deeper needs than that. I think our tandem of having Tyler out there and DK is a threat to any defense that we face. But we are depleted at offensive line, so we're not throwing the ball effectively. We have running back injuries that we're not getting the version of the players that we know that they can be. So it's just a hard situation all around.
So you wish we'd gone defensive line or offensive line?
I do.
What you're saying.
Yeah.
And we did go heavy offensive line in the previous draft when we got Lucas and other side. What's his name? Who's on the left side?
I can't think of his name right now.
Why do I spit? This happens all the time. I'll remember as soon as I stop the camera. Oh, Cross.
Yeah.
All right. They've made their bed and we're laying in it, so we can't really talk about what we didn't do in the draft and all that. But what do you think? I know you're down on the Seahawks right now, but we're 6-5 and we got 6 games to go.
And I think we do have a shot for tomorrow. I don't think that we're out of the question of winning that game at all. I think Dallas might be a bit of a paper tiger, that they haven't played anybody or beaten anybody that has
all
a
500 sub 500 teams.
Right, yeah. So that's definitely a contributing factor to how I think tomorrow might go, that we can definitely pull that out. And I just wonder if they're a paper tiger and we beat them, are our weaknesses just being covered up by these wins that we keep running.
Oh, I don't think there's any. If we beat the Cowboys tomorrow, I don't think anyone's going to be going, oh, well, the Seahawks didn't play a good team. I'm like, no. Dallas is still a good team, and their record speaks for what it is. And we knew that these teams, the 4-team stretch that includes 49ers twice, the Cowboys and the Eagles,
is going to be ugly.
We're going to be tough. So I don't think anybody's going to take away from if we can pull out a win tomorrow. So what's it going to take for us to do that? Who's going to have to what are we gonna have to do differently that we haven't done the last 2-3 weeks in order to get a win?
I think we need to put more pressure on the quarterback. Dak needs to be pressured, and we need to figure out a way that we can cover intermediate routes in the middle of the field. I think that's where they're picking us apart. A lot of these teams are just throwing 5-6 yards down the field, in the middle of the field, and for some reason Brooks and Bobby aren't picking it up very quickly. Or
Right.
I think Bobby may have lost a few steps. I love him to death, but his coverage isn't what it used to be. And Brooks is, I don't know what's going on there, but I think those are the things that we need to focus on. And I think that I trust our staff well enough that they'll address those issues that we've had in giving up those chunk plays on those intermediate routes in the middle of the field.
Now, what's interesting, James, is twice now I've asked you about the team.
Yeah.
And both times you've gone to the defense first, as if the defense is the ones who are letting the team down. Whereas I have to argue that I think it's our offense that is putting our defense in bad positions, because the defense is out there 90% of the time. So the offense has to help the defense out by getting first downs, scoring in the red zone, which we haven't done very well. And so you didn't talk at all about what the offense needs to do.
You're right.
What does the offense need to do so that we can help the defense out and not put so much pressure on those guys?
I think Gino needs to be quicker in getting the ball out, whether it's incompletions or not. I don't care. I just think he needs to get the ball out, because it's leading to deeper issues in him getting interceptions, in him getting sacked. Those problems are huge for our offense. And then I think we need to rely a little bit on the run game. Like I said, though, our running backs aren't feeling good.
Charbonnet, I know it's great to have Walker, and he probably isn't going to play tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But I think Charbonnet's good. We just got to stick with it.
I don't disagree. I don't think he's bad by any stretch of the imagination. I just think that tandem back duo that we had was so effective.
It was.
And
but
now
look here. Have you heard of a guy named Kenny McIntosh?
I have.
You haven't seen him yet.
I haven't.
None of them have seen us yet. I have been saying since the day we drafted him that this cat out of Georgia is going to do something special. Got to give him a chance, though. We haven't seen it. It's just been like DJ Dallas is the third back, but now.
So who do you blame for that, though?
I put most of my blame on Shane Waldron at this point. And I've heard conspiracy theories that it's not Shane, it's that Pete Carroll restricts what Shane can do.
He won't give up control of the offense.
He won't give control of the offense. But not knowing if that's the fact or not, I'm going to ignore that theory. That it starts with the offensive coordinator, because the offense to me is what's the issue.
Yeah.
And if his job is the coordinator, well, he's the guy at the very top of that, but it starts with them and rolls its way down. So
I get what you're saying completely, that it's on the offense, and the offense needs to perform better. But do you see these problems that I mentioned about the defense? Do you see those as problems?
Oh, no, I agree.
Well?
I agree. I'm tired of seeing these crossing routes with guys wide open in the zone. I feel like we should get away from doing as much zone and go more man-to-man.
Yeah, we have the corners to do it very effectively. I agree.
I think so. And so I'd rather die by the sword that way than see a bunch of 15-yard in routes that we can't get within 5 yards of and risk man-to-man and maybe get burned over the top, which I know these guys can do because they got CeeDee Lamb and other fast guys.
Yeah.
So, but I think it starts with the run game, because this potent offense of Dallas can't be potent if we're running the football and draining up clock
and just run
keep them off the field.
Sure.
Or you turn the passing game into more like Tom Brady style, where it's like an extension of the run game in the form of a pass, where you just get those 5-yard little dinks and dunks, because that's as good as a 5-yard handoff.
And nobody can run those better than Tyler. Tyler Lockett in those short routes is incredible, and he could do that all day long. We just, for some reason, I think we got into this rhythm with Russ when he was here and throwing those sexy deep balls.
Right.
And now Gino likes to do it too, but it's not working right now.
Yeah,
So
he was force-feeding to DK on the left sideline over and over and never connecting. But why get 50 when you can just keep getting 5s and, keep the ball in your control, just keep moving it, drains the clock, keeps the defense rested.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too, is I think it's easy to just blame the defense, but when you're out there so much, at some point, even the best defense is going to get tired and worn out, and then you're asking them to do all these things when they're carrying the load as it is.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I feel like it's on the offense to help the defense out.
Get them off the field for sure. Keep the defense off the field, run the ball, run the clock down, and I totally agree.
Or get a better, quicker passing game, because the defensive line is coming. That rush is coming. it's on the stat sheets. So if you're the coordinator or whatever, you got to see that and go, okay, we can't have Gino drop back and expect him to have like a 5-step drop and wait for routes to develop for 7 seconds and have that kind of time. It's not going to happen. So you got to do something to counter that. So that's why I put it on the coordinator to see this and do something to rectify. Because with every strength, there's a weakness, right? An opposite reaction, all that kind of stuff. So there's a solution out there. The Cowboys have been beaten. So I'd be watching the Cowboys tape of that loss to the Cardinals and go, what did the Cardinals do? Minus Kyler Murray earlier in the year, how did they do it? How did the New York Jets beat the Philadelphia Eagles? Give them the one loss. The one loss to the Eagles is to the freaking New York Jets. How does that happen? Like one of the worst teams in the league, and they freaking beat the Eagles.
Zach Wilson a sleeper? I don't know.
No, he sucks. But they did something right. I didn't watch that game, so I need to look back and see. But you know, it's their job to figure out what works. So I feel like we have the talent. We just got to get the most out of it.
I agree. These injuries aren't helping anything, and then the scheming of the defense of keeping that middle wide open is just something's got to give there. But you're right. The offense has a lot to do to keep their defense off the field, to keep them rested, give them the energy to continue a game and run a good defense.
We'll see, man. I mean, we're just fans.
Yeah.
We just sit here and watch the games, but ultimately those guys got to do it, you know.
Yeah.
But they got to execute too, because you could have the best game plan, the best coaching, telling everybody what they got to do, and the players and the best talent. But if they don't execute their job, if DJ Dallas doesn't look the ball into his hands on a punt before running, if DK starts running before the pass is caught in his hands,
or if he starts fights on the field.
Well, he hasn't done that. He hasn't done that in like several weeks now. This has a lot of potential. Hey, what's up, Tristan? If he doesn't, that's ripe for it in this game, especially because they got a good secondary. It's Dallas, right? But he's been not an issue. Yeah. At least from what we could tell, he has not been chirping and getting, unsportsmanlike conduct.
It's good to see the difference, yeah.
So anyway, it's execution. So ultimately, if everybody does their thing, but they don't do their job, the best plan can fall apart.
Yeah.
Right?
One thing I don't want to see anymore from Seahawks fans though is the hate for Pete. I don't think it's on Pete. I don't think Pete is the problem. I don't think he's ever been the problem. I think there's a lot of things around him, and there's a lot of situations on the team. But
I agree. I think the problem is we live in this world where, especially with social media, which is ironic because I'm using social media, but we live in this world of instant gratification nowadays, right? You know, you're a younger guy. I'm from an older generation where we had to wait for things, right? When you wanted to watch that Charlie Brown Christmas, you had to wait till November or whatever for it to come out, and you couldn't just go, hey, I want to watch that. Yep, here it is. So now it's like in this world where people don't like the relationship, don't like my spouse, divorce, I'll get a new one. We're so quick to just go, I don't like it, so I need to get a new one, and I'll be happier. And I think it's easy to just point at the most, visible target, whether it's the head coach and then Gino, and just go, I don't like it, I'm not happy, let's take them out and put somebody better in there. Assuming that they're going to be better just because you replace it.
Right.
But I've always said too, that you can replace something, it doesn't mean it's going to get better. You can replace somebody and it can get worse, And I don't think Pete Carroll himself is the issue. I don't think Geno Smith is completely to blame. He's part to blame.
No.
But
he's got to get the ball out quicker. But he's not a bad quarterback at all.
But it's really about execution. I mean, coaches executing, but the players on the field, because I think we have a lot of talent. I think if everybody performed to their peak, and at the moment they get their one-on-one, right? It's about a one-on-one because there's 11 players on the defense, 11 on the offense. So each guy's got to neutralize the other. And if everybody did, I think every play is designed to succeed if everybody won their matchup.
Sure.
But if somebody whiffs on a block, somebody drops the football, if Gino makes the wrong read, it could be perfect and it should be a touchdown. But one of those things goes wrong, the whole thing falls apart. Right. So, but it comes down to that one moment, that one play, that one execution. Seattle just has been sloppy on execution. The tackling. You didn't mention the tackling on defense. The defense, I think more than anything else, is the tackling has been horrific. I mean, I see Quandre Diggs coming in here trying to make a tackle like this. Like, you can't tackle a guy with your shoulder only. What happened to wrapping it up?
Yeah, you learned that from Pee Wee. It's wrap up.
I feel like the fundamentals have gone out, and I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's just a bad trend.
Which is bizarre with the defense that's captained by Bobby Wagner, who's one of the best.
Right.
those fundamentals as a linebacker.
And Seattle used to be like back in the Legion Boom days. They used to be one of the best tackling teams around. Richard Sherman, as much of his covering, he was heralded for his tackling ability.
And then Earl Thomas wasn't a giant, but he could tackle anybody in the league.
Of course, Cam Chancellor, all those guys. So you never talked about missed tackles.
Right.
But now I feel like guys are just trying to make the big hit, the big highlight hit, like jarm with the shoulder, so the guy gets knocked over. Well, instead they just bounce off and go for another 5 yards, 10 yards. Anyway, so that's execution.
Penalties too,
and that's execution too. Penalties are is a byproduct of bad execution. Either you're not paying attention, you're not listening to the snap count, you're not lining up properly, or you do something stupid like suplex a guy when you got him stopped for -5 and you throw him on his back, or get into fights afterwards. Those little things. But so I feel like it's just a bunch of little stuff adding up to what feels like a bad team, but we're not a bad team. Anyway, that's my take on it. We'll see what happens after Thursday. It might feel differently if we get completely blasted. 42-point Let's hope that doesn't happen. If we win, and then imagine the 49ers lose to the Eagles on Sunday, all of a sudden this whole division is completely turned on its head. But right now, we just got to get the one thing, is win that game on Thursday.
Yeah, and I don't think we'll lose twice to the 49ers this season. I don't think that's going to happen. So.
Except we lost 3 times to the 49ers last year. I remember saying it's hard to lose to a team twice in a year, twice in a season, or maybe even 3 times.
Oh, we did to the Rams though, so I don't know.
And we did to the Rams, so start running out of cliches and excuses of why we're not going to lose. But anyway, we'll see. Well, it's good chatting with you, James.
Good talking to you. Thank you for your time.
All right, man. All right, go Hawks, baby.